thought I'd give you a tour of my craft space. This is the hallway coming in, and I have this room jam-packed. I use every single square inch of it probably, so I just want to give you kind of a overview. Turn the light on. So let's start over here. I have these pieces of furniture that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. On top of this one, I have my reference card catalog that I spoke about in my last Flosstube video. I've got some stitch boards that I made that I use to keep my threads on for different projects, different sizes, and my rulers I just have back behind here, them tacked into the wall, different rulers and templates for quilting and cutting fabric. Over here is where I keep my linen. I showed you how I organize my cross-stitch linen in one of my prior floss tubes. And this is a bulletin board that I made using a extra large painting canvas that I covered with some fabric. The circles are actually cork that I covered so I can use push pins, and everything else is just I use clothespins. And to see the in between, I've got an extra TV tray table that I painted with silver spray paint. And inside of this cabinet, I have mostly on the top, I've got my needle minders in there. I've got all my supplies to make floss bling, to make my own floss bling. That's a hole punch for making my own floss drops. Some extra snips, and these are all of my floss bling and floss drops. Q snaps and hoops in here. Down here I've got all kinds of supplies to make project bags. And all of my DMC is stored there. And then to the side over here, I've got my printer. This is where I print PDFs. I make copies of my stitched pieces on photo canvas paper, which I talked about in my last floss tube. Up here, my husband made these, I have shown these previously, these screened little baskets, and I like to put my shades of white and black and everything in between in that one. This one I keep my Valdani and pearl cotton. Over here is my cutting table. I've got all of my cross stitch floss here. I separate it by color and then by floss brand. So that's Gentle Art, Weeks Dye Works, and Classic Color Works. And this is something I purchased at Hobby Lobby. It comes in so handy. It's perfect. And it's where the like the doorknobs and drawer pulls are at Hobby Lobby. That's a table runner I made a couple years ago. And then I also made these cute little mug rugs to hang in different colored cherries. So this is my cutting table. Over here I've got some task lighting that I purchased on Amazon. This opens up to where I just keep some extra stuff. Down here I've got crochet and knitting patterns, and in here I've got some older cross stitch patterns that I don't really dig into but I want to keep. Over here I've got my DMC bobbins. I keep my DMC on bobbins right now. My library cards so I can mark my cross stitch pieces. This is just an empty container. These are also empty containers. I plan to use these for my silk spools, and I explained those in one of my prior floss tubes as well. Have my glue gun back there. And this is a vintage button collection. I just got a pizza pan and then various mini baking dishes to put them by color. And then over here I've got these, in this binder here I have cross stitch patterns that I have either stitched or that are not in my immediate radar. These are my quilt patterns and my So Simple shapes. And then I've got quilting and crochet books there. Some knitting also. This basket here has my Blackbird Designs quilt and project books. I've explained my my organization for Blackbird. They get their own separate organization, and these are all of my my Blackbird Designs collection. And I explained my filing system and how I did that. In these little binders, I got these tiny ones at Walmart. My Lori Holt stitch cards are in there. This one is for my Stitching with the Housewives patterns, and this is all of my other miscellaneous cross stitch that I have stitched. So basically these are the patterns that are shorter, and these are the patterns that are larger that won't fit in this. Over here I have a little TV tray table that I spray painted in pink, and this has I have shown this in one of my previous Flosstube videos of how I made this portable ironing and cutting binder. It's an actual folder that I can fold up and bring with me. Little iron here that's next to my my sewing machine. My scissors. In here I have all of my so dusty, my various feet for this Janome gem. I do most of my sewing on this, and this is just a little pillowcase that I cut the edging off of. I did crochet this and made it into a cover for my machine. Down there is my carry case for my sewing machine when I want to take it someplace. These are all of my project bags. They're just here in this corner because I don't know what else to do with them. Here's another piece from Hobby Lobby that I have in these three drawers. I have yarn. So these are my wool yarn that I can do felting projects with. These are more of my specialty yarns that are a little more expensive or have that I could fill in, use this to fill in with another yarn. And then down here I have supplies to make counting pins, supplies to make floss bling cabochons, and then supplies to make covered buttons, and then these are my various buttons that I use for finishing. And in here I've got large ribbon spools. There's also burlap in there, large, like I said, large ribbon spools, and then I have my seam binding in there for my quilts. I prefer to use that than to make my own. It's just much easier and more enjoyable. These are just some various painting supplies, sketchbooks, just miscellaneous craft items. Sorry about that. These are just some cross stitch patterns that I haven't filed yet, and this is my current filing system. These are projects that are in my current radar. I don't have a rotation really, but these are, this is a vintage box. I explained in a prior Flosstube how I file my cross stitch there. This is a, let me show you on top of here. I have just a little vignette that I've created. I've got various paintings and prints. These paintings are from my mother-in-law painted that one. That is a color photocopy of another painting. This was given to me by a dear friend who moved away. She saved the stitch and had it hanging in her house, and then she passed it to me. That's a cross stitch piece that I did maybe last year or year before. And then just some various items that I have on here. A stack of boxes that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. This is cute little shoes that my mother crocheted. That's a little stitch with my grandmother's initials, both of my grandmas. These are vintage sewing books that were gifted to me. Those are the initials of my grandfathers. A collection of covered buttons and spools. And then an old sewing machine, and various other items there. Over here I've got a tea cart that my mother gave me, and I painted it red. This is actually Tractor Red from Tractor Supply. On the bottom I have my spools of ribbon for finishing down there, and I like to keep all of my baskets the same color, so in here I chose that pink. Those came from Hobby Lobby. My mother made that pillowcase for me, and I thought it made a cute cover for the cart. I keep some cute odds and ends on here that I like. There's some stitched pieces from friends and other people. My rickrack I put on spatulas. I love to have like a baking theme in my craft room, so that's why I use the spatulas. And then there's some some other items, my needles in there. And then over here I've got my cotton yarn that I use to knit my dishcloths with. Some books. My knitting needles in ice cream sundae glasses. Abiding Love, that is an adoption agency in our area. And then I've got some things that my kids made. So my daughter, she appeared with me on one of my prior Flosstube videos to explain her business, Soft Serenity Candle Company. And then this was made for me by my son 12 years ago for my birthday. In here I have, this is a cabinet that I got from Target, and it's got some crochet hooks and knitting supplies, some tools that I use for jewelry making and floss bling ring making, various glues and tape, and there's some bias tape makers down there. This is a vintage sewing machine that my aunt gifted me. I love it. And when I have a table to put it on, I will do that, but I didn't want it to sit. I wanted to enjoy it, so I bring it up to my craft room. Over here I've got some bedspread weight cotton in this vegetable basket tray. And then over here I've got some things hanging, a crocheted piece, and then this is the granny square from Lori Holt that I put on a frame. It's actually magnetized on there. And then over here is where I do my Flosstube videos, if you recognize that. I've got my futon. I purchased this on Amazon when this became a office slash guest room slash craft space. The craft space tended to take over. I've got my dress form with some lengths of ribbon on there, and my bookcase, which you are all familiar with if you watch my Flosstubes. That is a Jane Austen quilt that I made not too long ago. I have made some chenille hearts and put them in this little toolbox that I spray painted from Hobby Lobby. A pillow that I made, and my Vintage Farm Girl quilt. I just chose some of my favorite blocks. This is a huge quilt, and this is a rug that I stenciled the words to the beginning of Psalm 100 on both sides. This used to be in my kitchen, but I brought it up here. Over here is a rack that my husband made that I can hang things on. That's another painting from my mother-in-law. My mom actually painted this little alcove. This used to be my daughter's room. I made those curtains with Lori Holt fabric. Over here is my quilt design wall, just a piece of batting that I hung up there. And over here is another piece of furniture from Hobby Lobby. I have a teapot with water to fill my iron up with, some little storage baskets that I have there. Over here are my beeswax melting tools. And then down here I have a bin of my RIT dyes and my chalk paint. And like I said, I love to keep everything pink. Have my pink footstool, my pink fan. And I put a top on this to use as a ironing surface. And I made a funny video, I think it's funny, of a funny situation that happened to me the day that I made this. And that is on my channel, on our channel as well. Over here I keep my pre-cuts and my my fat quarter bundles. And again, I love the baking theme, so I put my jelly rolls on the mini cake dish, and in the loaf pan I have my mini charm packs. In here I have my poly pellets. In here I have my interfacings, various types, and then my soft and stable, and down here I have wood shavings, and that's actually a bag of snake and reptile bedding, is what they call it at the pet shop. And then some polyfill. I should show you under here. Like I said, I use every ounce of room in here. I have cutting boards for quilting, some threads, my machine threads. I have yarn winder back there, and more quilt batting. And back here I keep that's lizard litter right there. It actually helps to weigh down this bookcase if it gets top heavy. And I've got more polyfill right there. So moving over here, this is my fabric storage. So these are pre-cuts that I've already cut into, so those are on top. Over here I've got ice cream dishes full of fat quarters that I use to back my pillows with. Over here I have various sizes of squares for piecing quilts together, and then the very top are scraps that I use for various projects that I need just a narrow strip of fabric for. So I try to use Lori Holt's method of storing scraps, and that's what this is. Over here I have very narrow strips and selvages, and I keep all those in here just because I like to collect them and keep them. These are various triangles, pieces of rows of quilt piecing that I don't want to get rid of just yet, so those sit in there. And then of course by color family I have my fabric folded up. In here I've got my layer cakes, and over here I've got these are special items that I have to back pillows, or if I make a pin drum, that would be the top. This is chenille wool. I've got felt, and then some lady dot velveteen. This is a quilt ladder that I've got some quilts displayed on, and then I won't take the ladder away, but you can see I've got 3 baskets piled up on top of each other behind there. And that has various scraps of batting, projects that have been abandoned that I don't want to get rid of because I can make other things out of those projects. And there's also large balls of yarn back there. I will show you what's in the closet in just a minute, but over here, this is another machine that my mother gave me. It's a Viking, and it does great quilting. It's got a lot of special stitches on there, and I can quilt small projects on there. So just to kind of give you an idea of where we were just a few minutes ago, I'm standing in the middle of the room, and so now I will show you what's in the closet. So over here, in these baskets, I have everything sorted by season for my decor that I bring downstairs or that I want to just decorate my bookcase with. That's my foam core there for finishing. Over here in this corner, I've got some various finishing items to display pieces on. And that box down there is full of thrift store frames. So that's my fall box of decor. My winter's got 3, winter and Christmas. Then I've got some summer down here. Over here, you can't really see, but I've got items for finishing and for magnetizing. And then up here continues my seasonal. I've got February, and then spring. Spring continues in here. And then some other items that I keep on hand for finishing various projects or for grabbing, mailing things. I use these, I explained these in another Flosstube. This was, these are non-stick for storing your patterns in those binders. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed my craft room tour, and I hope you get in lots of crafty time. Take care.